So welcome everyone to the IM Tech Meetup, which is sponsored by Content.ai. And this month we're talking about women in tech, and we've got awesome speakers sharing their journeys and what they've been involved in coming up soon. So I'm just going to quickly introduce the actual meetup, and then we can get started. So a little bit about who I am. My name's Ilesh Mistry. I am a senior front-end engineer and a Content.ai MVP. And I'm the founder and organizer of the IM Tech Meetup. Should you want to try and contact me, there's a QR code on the right-hand side, and you can get me on various channels like Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. A little bit about the IM Tech Meetups. They're generally front-end driven topics, but we also try and mix things up with different topics that we feel is relevant, including this one as well. And if you want to know more about topics and sessions that are going to happen, events happening in the future, then make sure you follow me on LinkedIn and Twitter, and you'll hear about them more often when they happen. If you know anybody who is looking to kind of speak at a future meetup or wants to sponsor the meetup, or if yourself are interested, then again, just get in touch with myself and we can work something out. A little bit about the sponsor, Content.ai. They basically are a headless CMS that enables organizations to govern all things content to deliver standout experiences. So, you can basically build websites, applications of anything, and all you really kind of need to provide in the headless CMS is just content, and then the presentation can be covered by any of your teams. They have various sort of channels that you can register with them. There's a QR code on the right-hand side at the top to allow you to register for 90 days free trial if you want to do that. But there's also a Discord area that they have that they are kind of where you can communicate with the actual members of Content.ai as well. You can also, if you are looking to kind of switch roles and look for opportunities out there, there are looking for people. So should you want to work at Content.ai, there's a QR code there as well. So before we sort of like get started, in the sense of the presentations themselves, please obviously answer your questions in the chat during the sessions. There will be opportunities at the end of each session to kind of ask those questions, so I'll be collating those. As you're probably aware, we're recording these sessions, so if you need to drop off, that's not a problem. I'll share the recording in a couple of days, if not sooner. If you can, it would be awesomely appreciated to kind of share this on social media. And there is opportunity to win some IM Tech Meetup swag. So should you want to be up for this, basically the QR code's on the right hand side and just basic questions on there to fill in, but you get a nice hoodie and some water bottles, etc. And it's something fun, really. So I'll be sharing out that link throughout the different sessions anyway. So going back to our topic today, we've got a few members talking about their journeys. So today we've got Shabari. She's going to be talking about something that is close to her. I've not put the title in there, but that's fine. It's a surprise. We can give you a surprise. And then we've got Anubha talking about empowering women in tech, especially the working mothers side of things. So it's an awesome journey. Then we've got Holly talking about how you can boost your career in tech. And then Danielle's going to be talking about her journey in tech as well. And then lastly, we've got Jeevantika talking about unleashing her potential and how women are claiming the power and changing the game. So that's going to be a very important topic as well. So, as you can see, we've got lots of great speakers here. And what I'm going to do is stop talking and actually hand over to Shabari as soon as she is ready, really.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. I just want to say it's an absolute honor and pleasure to be here and to share my story, a snippet of my journey and my learnings. And I want to thank you, Ilesh, for kind of just creating this beautiful space to help inspire us and each other in the process, I guess. Thank you very much. Kick off with my secret content for today. I've called it the Pathless Path, and what I want to start off, I just want to show you that I have just 3 slides, so it's not going to be death by PowerPoint deck. Just giving you a heads up there. I just want to go over firstly a quick introduction, and then I have a second slide for Pathless Path, which is my observations. I do have to say at this point that Pathless Path is an actual book by Paul Millard, and I have very, very nicely stolen the title. Or let's say inspired. It really, the book itself is fab. I kind of urge you to read that. But the content that I am sharing in that slide is not really a summary of the book itself. It's just the title that really which I really loved, and I'm using it to share my observation in the second slide, and then we kind of round up with my 8 step framework to make conscious choices in the career that we are in, and how we can develop a mindset that allows us to work towards our goal. So I think it's a bit of a habit for every consultant to start off with a framework, and that's what I've tried to do, and hopefully you'll enjoy it as well. So starting over, if I can click the next slide. Okay. Uh, this is a quick introduction. I firmly believe that in the end, as the famous quote goes, in the end, we're all stories. So it's very important for any speaker to kind of share their background and the story and the journey that they've been through, for the content to penetrate more. So when you're listening to someone and you've just heard about their background, I truly think that when you listen to the rest of their content, you understand the cultural references, you understand the human side of it, and somehow there is an intangible that makes you one that kind of just connects you to the content, and it's just a lot more better. So this is my story, and it's in a form of a kind of a road. And as goes with every story, there are 2 sides to it. So all the location points, the milestones to the right side of the road, are my personal milestones. I do have to say I've had a much more interesting life than this, but it's just I kind of shared only the ones that further the conversation in today's call. So on the right side, all the pink ones are my personal milestones, and on the left side of the road are my the roles that I've picked up along the way to get to where I am now. I am a portfolio assurance lead for global fleet for an integrated energy company. And well, that's what I do 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. But over and above that, I'm a mother, I'm a wife. I do love some yoga, I dance, and I'm a storyteller. So all of this is, I do have to caveat that, a big work in progress. So that's me. I was born and raised in Bangalore, and I graduated with an engineering degree in computer science. Um, and immediately started off as a software developer for a large organization. And this was 15 years ago. So as it was in those days, junior developers were usually put on support projects. Well, I was put on a support project, but that came as a blessing in disguise, because back then, if you had to apply a patch on an existing system, or if you had to make like you had to take a system, a software code live, then if it was a big release, they would kind of fly the support and deployment team to the data location, where the data center was is hosted, and you would kind of do it in that geographical location. So as a result of which, I ended up touring quite a bit of Europe, which is to this day the most I made the most wonderful memories. Early 20s touring Europe. Our organization had massive clients all over Europe, mostly telecom clients. And that was like the best few years of my life. And from the only thing, when I look back now, what what I could have done differently while I absolutely had a blast doing the job was I never bothered looking at the big picture as you do when you're, when you start off new in an industry, I suppose. Maybe I could have probed more and asked for where does this fit in and what is the larger piece of work that we're doing, which I never did. But on the flip side, I would say that my background in development has truly given me what I not quantifiably, but I do personally think that it's given me a competitive edge in the different roles that I've ended up playing along the way. So being a developer has really kind of given me the developer kind of being more empathetic towards software developers along the journey while I've played different roles. From then on, I became a business analyst. I moved on to becoming a product owner and a senior product owner as well. Just want to say that when I started being a product owner for like larger and larger products or a suite of products, what I noticed is you can have different journeys. People come from like different backgrounds to play this role. So I've seen people with background in marketing, background in advertising, background in analytics, and some of them are like subject matter experts, being like business in air quotes. Some of them are technical POs coming from hardcore architecture and technical backgrounds. So it's just nice to see that you can play the same role. Oops, did we lose presentation? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's back. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, so I've just want to say that every time you do a role, you kind of think that it requires certain kind of skills to get there, but people have different journeys of different convoluted routes and how you play the same role and how they bring their own flavor. So I honestly think that the flavor that I got in with the whole technical background truly helped me get better at doing what I did. Um, Along the way, I married my college buddy. I've known him since I was 18, and we got married. We had our son, made a deliberate move to UK. We were going a bit to and fro along the way. I used to do shorter trips and fly in and out very often on projects. And I think when we had our son, I said it can't work like this. I think when you're a mother, you kind of your priority changes. When you're married, nothing changed, absolutely. But I think when you have a child, you can't do business trips for longer duration. So we made the deliberate move to UK. One of the best decisions in a long time. We absolutely loved living in London. Just when I was settling into my new role, moving into UK, we hit the pandemic in a couple of years. We hit the pandemic, and I was at the point trying to like do a short break before I make a deliberate and an intentional choice of a new role. But it was more like a forced break here. I'd say I decided to take a few months off. I ended up taking a whole year because I was stuck in a different country. I think all of us have good or sad stories from COVID, and that was my forced break here. But when I came back, it was I kind of used that break here. Actually, did not use it for baking banana breads and so on, but I did a lot of technical reading, which was the first time I was doing such reading. For me, earlier reading was just fiction. I could not read anything. I think the last I picked up a technical book was in my engineering days and not after that. But kind of COVID got me reading. I'd like to shout out like two books that really shaped my thinking. One is Leading the Change by John Kotter, which is the change model that most people use in the digital transformation journeys, which really proved pivotal when I had to play the next role, which is the role that I'm playing right now, the portfolio assurance lead. That book kind of like really shaped me and understanding the basics of rolling out change and at scale. So that's one book that I would highly recommend people read. Another book is a couple of books. Phoenix Project. I don't know if you guys have heard it. Makes you understand the concept of like DevOps, and that was in a very light and a fun way. So I would highly recommend those two books as well. Um, just the last pit stop. I started working with a coach I started picking up like a bigger role when I was transitioning from being a portfolio analyst for a very large portfolio. This is a portfolio with about 40. It's a product suite of like about 40 products. So in that space, I kind of really struggled understanding the scale and what my role demanded, and invested on a coach, which is very expensive at the time. I did not understand what I was doing. I was pushed by my husband to really invest in myself. Another wonderful choice that I made working with a coach. Never hold back from investing on yourself is the message that I would leave you with. So that was not a short introduction, but hopefully you got a sneak peek into where I've been. If I can click forwards. This is the point where I want to talk about pathless path. So this, if you look at Paul Millard's book, he talks about pathless path in a very different context, but the way this is my interpretation of it. Like I said, I've stolen the title, but the content is not really a summary of the book. What I think is, in life there are two types of people. Of course there are more types, but for this conversation let's assume there are two types. One kind of person is the lady who is in the first picture, in the top picture, is a person with a very clear vision of where she wants to be. She always has a game plan. This would be typically someone you could relate to for a doctor. Like if you're surrounded, you would see in a doctor's family, if you surround yourself with a lot of doctors, family, friends, and children that grew up in such an environment aspire to be doctors. They very clearly know where they want to go in a few years, what is the specialization they want to work on, and they already know how their life kind of like unfolds before them. um, uh, they are usually passionate about what they do. They usually tend to be very good at what they do. And I want to call out the last point, which is intrinsic motivation. They are driven by themselves. They don't need other external validation to be and do what they do. They have a very intrinsic calling, so to speak, about the job that they do, and which is what kind of gets them going every day. So that's, if you put them as type one, you look at them and you feel like their life is sorted, they know what they're doing, they have fulfillment in their jobs, and they're probably like high achievers as well. And then you have the type two. um, this was me for sure. I don't know if I can say was, but this is definitely me. Go with the flow kind of an attitude about work. Work is a means to an end. You take up you kind of like do you take up an opportunity that comes your way, and not really like scout for opportunities. um, and I think if you work long enough in big organizations, people vouch for you. They say, oh, here's an opportunity, I kind of like advocate Shabri for this job, and then it comes your way. And I picked up things because in the consulting space you want to be billable. So as if you're winding down one project, you just say yes to the next one, whichever comes your way, and you just do it. And then the thing that goes in your head is, it's a means to an end. It's what I do for 8 hours a day, and then I switch off, and then my life starts, right? So that's the general belief. In such cases your growth tends to be linear. Nothing magical ever happens. If somebody asked me, do you enjoy work, I'd probably say heck no. You just do what you have to do. And sometimes you could be extrinsically motivated. It could be your pay, it could be travel, which was in my early years. I was like, work was secondary. I was more excited about going to all of these locations, so I'd put in a lot of effort into doing well just so I could go places. So you could be potentially extrinsically motivated. So that's how I would categorize the two types of people, right? And they would look like they're starkly different. But my observation is that both of them kind of map to what the book defines as the default path, right? So in both the cases, both the individuals are kind of on the default path. The first one has a vision. There's a long-term vision of where they want to be. I know this is me 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I'm a surgeon, I'm here, I'm doing product owner now, I'm doing, let's say, a portfolio management next, and I'm going to be a CIO of an organization. So it's very laid out and you're laser focused about where you're going. And in the second case, things you're just doing for just to float and go with the flow. But both are typically the default path because you already set your path and you're just like going along the way. The plan is to, what I would say is to go to a pathless path, which transition to a pathless path. And this comes from the core principle comes to the point that the world is an ever changing place. So are you checking in with yourself that you're going on a direction that you want to be on and there is fulfillment along the way? Do you know enough about the goal that you're going after? Let's say I set a goal for 5 years down the lane. I want to be a CIO of an organization, right? um, is that is that it? Do you know that there could be like potentially so many different roles that you are an excellent fit for because of the changing world, but you having fixed yourself on this vision, is it now outdated? Are you making that check in with yourself? And that's what uh, I call the pathless path and my interpretation of the pathless path, right? So, how can you transition from being on the default path to then moving into what is called the pathless path, where you're checking in with yourself, you're not working with the destination in mind, but you're setting smaller goals, smaller milestones, and saying, yes, this makes sense to me, this makes sense to me, and then kind of making that move forward. Is that okay? Any questions before I go to my last slide? Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, so that's my observation. And here we are with my 8-step, is it eight? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, 8-step framework for accepting challenges and powering through. This is become a habit now for consultants, I think, to kind of go anywhere and say we've got a framework and this will work for you. Comes with a clause. This worked for me, and this is my observation, and this is my framework. Please take it with a pinch of salt. It starts with the right hand four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 blocks. Kind of starting talking about scouting for new challenges every now and then the last 4 are more about what's the action plan to then, if you've seized an opportunity, seized a challenge, then how do you kind of like put an action plan in place to ace the challenge and overcome the hurdle of it could be self-doubt or anything that you've that could be stopping you from achieving that, right? So I'd say the very first step is future gazing, where it's all about spending or blocking time in your diaries and your busy lives, where you could be so consumed by the daily um, packed schedules of like work and personal life. Put in that checkpoint with yourself to look into the future. I did not know how to do this, and this is another point that I want to say, that I worked with a coach who kind of like forced me into saying, what do you see your future to be? And then you get these really disconnected visuals which don't make sense, and then when it all pans out, it's what Steve Jobs said, isn't it? Like, you look back and the dots connect. So it's more like that. So I would say, even if it doesn't make sense, block some time to look into the future and see where you what visual you get. And it sounds a bit preachy or like a cult, look in the future, or it's not really that. It's about just what do you see yourself doing? What is your ultimate, if you remove the different constraints in life like money and commitments and debts and whatnot, what would you rather be doing? And we don't have, most of us, I would think, don't have an answer to, if you won the lottery and if you did not have to worry about money, what would you do? And you don't really spend time thinking about that. And the first step is all about trying to get that go into that thought space and blocking time for that. And then you get some visuals which don't really make sense in the beginning. But the main thing is to keep checking in with yourself and saying, do I have an open mind? This is where, for example, uh, an extrapolated example is, let's say you woke up in the morning and for some reason you have like a spring in your step and you have a big smile on your face, and you head out and you have people like cheering back at you, like kind of like resonating that, smiling back at you, being warm to you, and you wonder like what you've done. But it's just that you've woken up in the morning with a positive attitude and you're putting that smile on, or and then your whole day kind of changes differently, right? So people are making conversations with you, something comes your way but they hadn't planned. So it's that mindset. It's about having the intention that I am open to opportunities, I am open for new challenges. And then if you just like unlock that part of your brain, that it's not about, I'm doing this today, I have a deadline tomorrow, and once this is over I have a break, and then when you get into that mindset of, I'm just like zoning out and I'm doing the best what I can do in today's job, you don't really keep a mind open and your body open for people reaching out to you and saying, you know what, I had this and I think you would be a good fit for it. uh, Again, not to sound preachy, but this truly did happen to me. I've, at social, at a work social, people reached out asking for something, only because I had a visual of, to give a specific example, of me speaking on a stage, and it did not make sense. In our day-to-day lives we don't really do that. But somebody reached out in a work social and said, um, we have our massive quarterly planning event coming up, and being the portfolio assurance lead, would you like to like host it? And that meant taking the stage and hosting like 120 people in person and 80, 90 people online, and kind of like planning that is way above my pay grade, my comfort zone, but it's just an opportunity that fell into my space. And I truly think because of that visual, believe it or not. Anyway, step 3 is all about embedding yourself in communities and working with mentors where possible. Um, I think this is the most underrated concept, being a part of a community. Again, this is something that, Ilesh, kudos to you. If you're drawing people to talk about things that they're passionate about, putting out like different agendas every now and bringing people together, the merits of working in a community of like-minded people, again, intangibles are, I would say, not quantifiable, but something clicks that it would not have hit you had you just put your head down, do an excellent job, an outstanding job at what you were paid to do. So I would say find your clique, go out there, put yourself out there in in-person events, online events. Again, it's an intangible. Um, the fourth checkpoint is just saying yes. We hold ourselves back and we think, oh, but my job is this. Oh, but I'm paid to do just this. Oh, that's an added additional. I'm already like doing 8 hours or 9 hours, and saying yes to this means a more busy life. You'll find a way to squeeze it in, and I would say, say yes and see where it goes. Treat it like an experiment. It doesn't have to be the end goal. um, you can always like back out later, but strange things happen when you say yes. And I think there is something really magical about not curating, not meticulously curating every step of your career. So something else comes your way, which is not something that you would do in your comfort zone. Saying yes to that truly unlocks something magical. So that's the first 4 steps about scouting for a new challenge or a new opportunity. And when something comes your way and they say somebody's approached you at a social or somewhere and you've said yes, the first thing you'll have to do is zoom out and see the big picture. Go take the bird's eye view, take the 30,000 feet view, or whatever other jargons, and see where does this all connect. Start from there, start from the big picture. This really helps because I always give this example. So if you asked a developer to build a wall, and if you give him a brick and say, your brick goes on this wall, and he would just like, do it, come in every day, whatever, and put this brick in or his piece of code in. But if you told the developer what his brick that's going into the wall is actually the foundational wall for a cathedral, which is going to stand there for like centuries, right? So the attitude the developer brings in is very different. So it's always important to kind of zoom out and have the big picture view. So start with that always. Um, the next step I would say is a famous agile ceremony or method, a principle: inspect and adapt. So always take feedback, take checkpoints. As soon as you do a small piece of work, or if you have a thought, compare notes with a buddy, a person in a similar role, or somebody actually just quite random, just like if you're at a work social or elsewhere. Just say, you know what, I had this opportunity and I was working on this, and this is what I was thinking, this is how I was going to approach, what do you think? So this quarterly planning event that I worked on just the last week, we went live. Um, every step along the way, I had like planned out the entire agenda, planned out every single detail, and I would really hesitate, but I'd make an effort to like discuss with a work colleague. And when I did that, I would get feedback, and I would be resistant to it. I would say, that doesn't make sense. I've worked really hard on this plan. It doesn't make sense to change it. But then adapting to what the pulse, what somebody else is saying gives you massive results. So ensure you compare notes with similar role people or even outside of the box. You will get great insights. um, the last couple of steps is the last one actually is visualization. So if you're struggling to see, especially a lot of women have self-doubt, so if you're struggling to see the end state, sit back a couple of days, a couple of minutes in a day, and visualize the end state if you know what it has to look like. For me, it was about being on stage with having like massive VPs of massive portfolios, like $1 billion portfolios sitting there, and I get nerves when I'm talking to a small crowd. So you could imagine what I was like. So every day I would spend a couple of minutes imagining the end state, me speaking on stage, everything going well. People coming to me at the end of the day and saying it was very valuable for us coming there. It was worth taking the time off. And believe me when I say this, that it transpired exactly like that. 5 minutes before the event, no nerves, never in my moment, never in my life. I thought I was almost dead because I'm like, why can I not feel my blood gushing through my face and my hands? I was calm as a, I don't know what it is, cucumber, whatever, cool as a cucumber. Went on stage, aced it. End of the day, I literally had people owning massive $1 billion portfolios come up to me and say it was absolutely worth being here, and that was the exact statement I had said to myself when I was visualizing the end state. So it is eerie, but there is a power in visualizing, but nothing really works if you don't have an action bias. So I would say action, action, action always. Work really hard towards when you visualize something, you're actually not just visualizing the end state, but you're visualizing taking the steps that take you there. And when you do that, you're already living it twice. You're living it on the day and you're living how it would occur in your mind before. So then you would know what tweaks you would need to make it a success. So that's how I would say are the 4 steps to ace a challenge. And with that, I that's my end of the slide. And I hope I did not go over time. Sorry, Ilesh, did I really go over time?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Sorry, sorry.
Great presentation. Yeah. Cool.
It's me.
Any questions for Shabari? If not, I've got one for you.
Go for it. Go for it.
So in your sort of like journey that you had going through the different levels, I could see like you did some technical roles and obviously some non-technical roles. Do you feel you might be, what's your preference, and would you go back into the technical side of things, or is it the case of your current role involves kind of both?
Good question. I think in the beginning I did not enjoy being a developer. I wouldn't say other roles, only because I think I was too held up in the details and I didn't really have good mentors at the time, and it felt like a struggle and I did not know how to overcome the struggle, so I couldn't wait to like switch out of the role. And so I'd say I switched out of it. But along the way, playing non-technical roles, I've always seen the benefit of having that background and knowing the basics of writing code, the basics of understanding architecture, understanding the MVC framework, what is a monolithic framework, what is like, and then it's flavors of it, right? Microservices, composable architecture, so on. So it's just kind of like putting, like visually, you have an understanding of what it is. Oh, when I say this, it means these are the layers of code. Kind of like that gives you an advantage when you're doing any role, as long as you're in the IT industry. That will always give you a competitive edge, and I have personally preferred non-technical roles.
Nice. Any questions? Any more questions? If not, we can always share your details and catch up with you soon.
Please do, yeah, reach out. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we've got Anubha next. Can you share your slides, or do you want me to try and do it?
I'm just gonna try.
Sure.
About a topic which is very near and dear to me, very close to my heart. So I created a group on LinkedIn. It's called Connecting Mothers in Technology. And I just want to talk to you about my initiative. So I will share a very personal story with all of you that led me to create Connecting Mothers in Technology group. So as I mentioned that I have worked in the tech industry for over a decade, and I can speak to the challenges that women face in this field, like gender bias, discrimination, and limited growth opportunities for career growth. However, like all these challenges, they just magnify when you become a working mother. So as a mother myself, I understand these challenges and the biases that come with returning to work after maternity leave, balancing the demands of the career with the responsibility of motherhood. It can be very overwhelming, especially in a very male dominated industry like technology. So often we find ourselves struggling to balance our professional and personal lives while still trying to be the best parent. So the experience of motherhood can be very isolating in itself, but for me, this feeling of isolation, it became something else. It became magnified when I came to know my child is sick. So when I found my child is sick, I found myself, navigating through a host of hospital appointments, doctor visits, and other medical appointments while also trying to balance my work and family responsibilities. I felt very isolated at times. I felt I was torn between two worlds, where one where I was focused on my child's health and well-being, while another I was trying to keep up with the work demands. So this made me feel very isolated, and it was just very difficult for me to even find people at work, friends, who could relate to what I was going through. So eventually, I had to come to the difficult decision that I needed to leave my job to take care of my child full time. It was a tough decision. Leaving my job was a very difficult transition. So, but however, like as a mother, I know that my child's health and well-being, they come first. So like this experience of leaving my job also kind of highlights the challenges that many mothers face in this workplace. So it was these experiences that motivated me to create mothers in technology group on LinkedIn. And my ultimate goal is to help mothers in the tech industry achieve greater work-life balance, greater flexibility, so that they can pursue their careers as well as care for their families without having to make such sacrifices or trade-offs. So this is my story as to why I created a Connecting Mothers in Technology. But I will take you through some slides here. And sorry, Ilesh, can you go to the second slide, please? Uh, okay, so why do we need a mothers in technology community? So you can see here, like the underrepresentation of mothers in the tech industry. So that's a global issue, and Ireland is no exception. I have all the stats here as of Ireland. So you can see like 43% of women, of mothers in the STEM fields, they reported experiencing discrimination due to caring responsibilities. 61% of women believe having children will have a negative impact on their careers. 54% of women in STEM roles said that a lack of flexible working arrangements was a barrier to their career advancement. So these statistics suggest that women and mothers are significantly underrepresented in the tech industry here in Ireland. The second, one of the major biases which women and mothers face is maternal wall bias. Now, this is a term which is used to describe the discrimination bias that working mothers face in the workplace. So maternal bias is a type of gender bias that assumes that working mothers are less committed, or less competent in their jobs because of their because they have children, or they have like caregiving responsibilities. And I'll come to my next point, which is unequal pay and career advancement opportunities. So working mothers are often overlooked for promotions or opportunities for career advancements. This is likely due to the perception that mothers are not as dedicated to their work, and they're not capable of taking, additional responsibilities. And which now the next is a lack of flexible working arrangements. So like tech industry is known for its uh, long working hours and demanding workload, which can make it very difficult for mothers to balance work as well as family responsibilities. And then the childcare support. So the high cost of childcare and the lack of employer supported childcare options can create financial as well as logistical barriers for mothers wanting to pursue careers in technology. So addressing these factors and promoting a more inclusive environment is needed to increase the representation. Ilesh, can you flick to the next slide? Yeah. So, okay, benefits. Benefits, what are the benefits? Like, how will the world be if we empower mothers? We will see increased diversity. So empowering mothers in the tech industry can lead to increased diversity in the workplace, which can lead to better decision making and increased innovation. It can lead to improved productivity. Mothers in the tech industry can bring a unique set of skills and perspectives to workplace, which can lead to more productive teams, more successful projects. Better work-life balance. Empowering mothers in the tech industry can help to create more flexible work arrangements and better work-life balance. Increased representation, improved recruitment. Empowering mothers in the tech industry can help to attract more talented women to the field, which can lead to an even stronger workforce. And we all know, like, we as women and as mothers, we have more emotional intelligence. And nowadays, like, everyone who's like all the women in leadership or people in leadership, people want more, people want to recruit more people who have, more empathy, more emotional quotient than IQ. Like, of course IQ is required, but with a bit of empathy, that can make a lot of wonders, improve the tech industry, improve, like, of course it can bring like better work life balance. So it's very important to bring this community of mothers together and just empower them so that they can be in the tech industry, uh, and they can pursue a career in tech industry. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah. So the motivation behind creating this group stems from the recognition of the unique challenges faced by mothers in technology. And I want to establish this by creating, like, I want to, the main goals which I want to achieve through this community are empowerment and support. Mothers in tech often face, as I've mentioned, like unique challenges in work, in balancing work and family life. So my group, I want to aim to provide a safe and nurturing space for mothers where they can share their experiences, seek advice, and find encouragement from like-minded individuals. Advocacy for inclusive policies. So by establishing a collective voice, I want to raise more awareness uh, for mothers in the workplace, for women in workplace, such as flexible working hours, remote working options, and comprehensive parental leave benefits. So I want to like raise awareness of these issues by sharing stories, by highlighting the accomplishments of mothers in technology. I want to challenge stereotypes. I want to break the unconscious biases in my own little way. Then I want to build a community where there's a sense of belonging. Nobody feels isolated because I understand how isolating it can be. Motherhood alone can be isolating. Very rewarding, but in terms of professional career, it is a bit isolating. And if you have a sick child, it becomes even more challenging. So I want to create a community where mothers can come together, connect, collaborate, celebrate successes, and ultimately creating a more inclusive and supportive environment for mothers in technology. So that's my little story. It's only the beginning. I'm trying to raise awareness for the mothers in technology in my own little step, in my own little ways, taking baby steps. So thank you so much for allowing me to share my story today, and I hope you will join me in supporting and empowering mothers as well as women in tech. And please join my LinkedIn group. It's called Connecting Mothers in Technology. and I hope to see some of your faces on my next event. Yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Are there any questions for this session? I've got a question. So this is a great sort of thing that you're promoting, and in sense of building the community. Do you have like events that you have done in the past that you can share, and any potential sort of like future events that could be coming up that could be part of this theme?
Yeah. So I actually hosted I launched my event, like I hosted my very first event. I think it's been a week now. I know, like Ilesh, you know about that. So I think it went very well. So I presented. So it was like my first event where I had a great lineup of speakers and panelists and women leaders, mothers who are working in big companies in leadership roles. I had invited them, and they spoke about the opportunities and challenges they faced. It was very interesting to actually hear their insights and stories. Like there was one of the panelists who was a director in one of the big four companies, and she said something very interesting. Like as a woman, she had never faced any challenges or any discrimination or any biases, but once she became a mother, that's when she kind of faced a lot of biases. So that was very interesting to see. And they were very generous as well with their stories. I had invited a TEDx speaker who joined us from Canada, and she was all about hormonal health. So it was very interesting. So that was my first event. And I want to like plan such events, like try and plan such events almost like for the next month, like every month or so. But I'm sure like a lot of events will be there in the pipeline. I am planning something uh, already. So the company where I work, Artcholler, they're very interested in the movement, and they want to collaborate with me, and they want to like host events. And Jeevantika on this call, she also has a, a Women in Tech, International Women in Tech group, which is big on in LinkedIn. So I want to collaborate with her and just raise awareness about this very important issue. So of course I can share the recording with you from the last event, and yeah.
That's great. Yeah, thank you. So any other questions? If not, thank you very much for presenting. Holly, just let us know when you're ready, please. Next.
Yeah, sure. Right. Okay, so hi, I'm Holly. I am a solutions architect. I am going to do a quick chat with you guys about Dale Carnegie and a course that I went on for Dale Carnegie about 4 years ago now, and how I think it has really boosted my career in tech. And I would strongly recommend anybody else looking to do that to definitely have a look at the courses and the books that they recommend. Fab. So a bit about me. I am a solutions architect. I have been a solutions architect at Lloyds Banking Group, which is where I currently work, Boohoo and Barclays. I've also, within tech specifically, I've been a business analyst and systems analyst as well. I also have done some work in engineering, not software engineering, but that was prior to me coming into tech. I think it's really important to mention that I don't have a dev background. Yeah, I'm a solutions architect, but I do have a technical degree, which was in maths. I think it's really important to mention that, because I think a lot of people think that to be in a technical role, you need to have this very technical background. I haven't necessarily had that route, and I've ended up in quite a technical role. So yeah, I think it's just really important to highlight that you don't have to go into specific roles and specific routes, which I think relates to this talk that I'm going to do now. quite a lot. So yeah, just to highlight that. Within this Dale Carnegie course, which I did, it was a 3-day course, and it was spanned over, I think it was about 3 months. So you did the day as a workshop, and then you went away, you put the skills that they taught you into practice, and then you came back and you presented how those skills, how you use them in your day-to-day role. And I found that really interesting and a really good way to actually make sure that you were using the skills that you've learned in those workshops, and then you could actually show people how you'd use them. And everyone had used different skills for different ways in their roles. So I personally think that the principles, which I will run through in a minute, have really been key to me progressing in my career in tech. And I honestly believe that the reason I am where I am in my role is because of the fact that I have really good interpersonal skills. And obviously it helps having these technical skills in a technical role, but I think that's the thing that has made me shine as a solution architect. I think, again, it's really important to highlight that progressing in technology is not just down to your technical skills. It's these interpersonal skills are so important, and I think especially as women in tech, I think that's really important to mention. Not all the time, but sometimes we're obviously told to act less with like feminine energy and kind of have more of that masculine energy in business. But I think some of my softer skills and those interpersonal skills as a female in tech have actually really helped me in that quite a male dominated industry. So the first, there were about 3 different, like I said, there were 3 different days. I'm just going to run through two of the days that we did. I won't run through every single item on here, otherwise we would be here forever. So I've just highlighted 3 of those in bold. This was the first day that we did, which was about becoming a friendlier person. And these are all techniques to influence people at work or in personal life as well, and also to making friends, again, personal life, work. So you're welcome to screen grab these, or you can Google them yourself. This is the first lot of them. I'm just going to go through the ones that are in bold, because they are the ones that I personally resonated with me, sorry. But you might have different ones. Everyone will be different, and anyway, I hope that they help. So the first one that I've got is about becoming genuinely interested in other people. So from my experience, both in business and personal life, I have found this one extremely helpful. So nobody likes to talk to people who only talk about themselves. And the best way I can think of how to explain this one about putting it into action is every time that you meet people, imagine that you are a detective and every person that you meet is the most interesting person in the world. And your job is to figure out why. So everyone is an expert in something that you are not. Learn from them. And this will help you listen intently to people and ask questions. Since I've started doing this consciously, people tell me all sorts that they never would have before. So from this one, I'd just say prove to yourself and other people that you are genuinely interested in them. If you're not sincere, people will see right through you, and good things can happen to you if you live by this principle. I've had old colleagues get me jobs, and because we got on in previous companies and because they liked me. So it's key to having good relationships at work, and I really think this one has helped me with that. The next one is being a good listener, encourage others to talk about themselves. So this one is kind of similar to the previous in that developing this skill does take practice, but the payoff is worth it. As human beings, we aren't very good listeners. Most people don't listen with the desire to understand. They would rather listen to respond so that they can get their 2 cents in, essentially. So when we listen to someone intently without interruption, it shows that we find them important and worth our time. So when people share things with you that they love, or that they enjoy doing, they feel good as they talk to you about it, and they'll associate those good feelings with you. And the way that I tried to start doing this personally was, if someone was telling me about their day or a holiday, or if they've had a bad day, basically if they were telling me anything, I always ensured I asked 2 questions before I would try and relate it back to myself. And so, like, for example, if someone's going to Spain on holiday, rather than me going, oh, I'm going to Spain as well next year, or I went last year, rather than trying to instantly relate to that topic, ask them, oh, what are you looking forward to the most? Have you been before? By doing that, you're letting them talk more about themselves and instilling that principle. The next one is about talking in terms of other people's interests. Again, learning what topics interest someone else and encouraging them to talk about them makes them feel important and understood. So let's pretend here that this is your boss. So this doesn't mean that you have to have something in common with your boss. So let's say that your boss is into extreme sports. Feeling that you have nothing in common with them because you're not into extreme sports in this example, what can you do? So you literally just let them talk about extreme sports. You just ask questions and you show genuine interest. So you could start by saying, wow, I have never had the desire to go bungee jumping. What made you decide to try to do that? And there's probably a really good story behind that first jump. So as your boss relives that event, they'll again feel many feelings about what they experienced before. And those now have that tied interaction with you, which is great for business. On day 2, we looked at this second topic area, which is win people to your way of thinking. So again, I'm just going to run through the ones in bold. Some of them might resonate with you more. You might feel that some of them align to your personality more. So the first one that I've got on here is show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say you're wrong. So I think this is a great skill for avoiding arguments because it's showing respect for other people's opinions. And when you're obviously telling someone that they're wrong, it's actually just insulting them, maybe without you realizing it. And by making someone feel that way, they're not going to want to change their minds about something, which is what this topic of winning your way, people to your way of thinking, is about persuasion and changing someone's mind. So if you're essentially insulting them immediately, they're not going to ever want to agree with you. If someone's coming up and insulting you to your face, you're not going to think, you know what I'll do? Listen to this person. So if you're trying to win them around to your way of thinking, and you know that they're wrong, you can say something along the lines of, well, look, now I thought otherwise, but I might be wrong. I frequently am, and if I am, I want to be put right. So let's examine the facts here. And there's a bit of magic in admitting that you could be wrong. It's very hard to object to people and phrases like that. You will never get in trouble for admitting that you might be wrong. It stops an argument and it inspires your opponent to be as open as you are and fair. The next one I think is so easy to implement, and I think it's really, really helped me. To win someone over, if you first begin in a friendly way, you're convincing them that they are a real friend. And by having that friendly approach, not just your tone, so your body language, smiling, tone appreciation can make someone change their minds readily, more than a good argument, stats, however you want to look at that. The person will already be in a good mood because you're happy to see them. People who you see at work, for example, who storm in a foul mood, you automatically just think, oh, I don't want to talk to them today. Or if someone comes up to you shouting, I need this by this deadline, you're so much less inclined to want to help them out. If you are the person who's always approaching people in such a friendly manner, why would people not want to help out the really nice, friendly person in the office? For me, this one is a no-brainer at all. If you're trying to express an opinion, the best way to do it is in a really friendly way with neutral words rather than going to head. The results are so much more productive and you're going to get good relationships from it. The last one for the day 2 that we did was let the other person do a great deal of talking. When we let someone else do most of the talking, without interrupting them and listening to what they have to say intently, we're showing them again what they have to say is important. So by letting someone express themselves and encouraging them to share their thoughts, we give them the chance to be heard and understood, and it again gives you that really open relationship. In terms of like winning people to your way of thinking, by letting someone talk about themselves, it can actually let the other person sometimes talk themselves around to your way of thinking. Also, if you let them do lots of talking, you can ask them questions which can again alter the way that they think about that, or can again win them around to your way of thinking about it. The other topic that I just want to finish on is enthusiasm. So this was part of, I think it was the day 3, and I think this really stuck with me. So one of the lines that they used in this course was act enthusiastic and you will be enthusiastic, and that was how the line was originally read out. And then they said to us, now you need to read that line in the most enthusiastic way that you can, with your body language, with your face, and physically how you're shouting it out. And people ended up yelling it around the room, going, act enthusiastic and you will be enthusiastic. And it sounded ludicrous at the time. Everyone was so out of their comfort zone by doing this. We were all asked to do a presentation on anything that you wanted to, but you had to act over the top. I did mine on a standard day of going skiing. So I was talking about how I was putting my skis on and how I was jumping onto the lift, and then I was really, really hungry by lunch, so we had to really dash over to the restaurant to go and eat. And I was running around the room doing this presentation, and you thought you looked absolutely ludicrous, but we all filmed it and none of us actually looked that ridiculous. We just looked like we were really interested in what we were talking about, and because you're enthusiastic, everyone else actually wanted to listen to your presentation, and they had this desire to actually watch it. So if you, for example, look at successful people, what do you see? You see that they're enthusiastic, that they're competent, and they're very, very confident people. And again, that principle is just the more ludicrous that you think you look, actually it's just more that you look confident and enthusiastic. For example, if you look at motivational speakers as well, why do we listen to them? It's because that you believe what they're saying, because they're so enthusiastic about what they're talking about, and you believe them, and therefore that's why you take advice from them. I'm just going to finish on this. This is just a quote from Dale Carnegie, and I think it applies very well to technology when I actually found this. So the person who has technical knowledge plus the ability to express ideas, to assume leadership, and to arouse enthusiasm among people, that person is headed for higher earning power. And I think that's the thing that, again, I'd like to leave you on with today. Yes, technical skills are obviously key to a career in tech, but there's these interpersonal skills of respect, being a good listener, enthusiasm. They all sound so basic, but they are so key to growing relationships at work, influencing people to progress in your career. I really hope that you guys can take something away from this session. It has been a life-changing course for me to do. I strongly recommend that you do it. They are quite expensive courses. If your work would pay for them, then brilliant. I'm actually in the process of looking to do another one, and I will be paying for it myself. I honestly think it has really changed my life. So I really hope that this has helped you. If you have any questions about it, or you want to reach out to me after this, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, thank you.
That's brilliant. Thank you. Maybe at some point you can probably just share a link to those presentation, or where you found that course. It might be quite good for
absolutely.
people to do that. Are there any questions for Holly? I've always got a question anyway, so no worries. So my question is kind of similar to what you spoke about, in a sense of being a solutions architect, but not having as much of a technical background. What sort of challenges did you face in that sort of situation where you might be speaking to quite highly technical people potentially, and how did you overcome them? How do you deal with that kind of stuff?
I think, I think it's definitely a challenge, and I've definitely experienced it before. I think a lot of people who I deal with, specifically devs, are very good at their jobs and don't get enough credit for it. Essentially, I think they should lead a lot more, and they don't necessarily get the opportunities to. So if I'm not sure in a technical area about what I should do in that scenario, I will always go and ask for advice. And it's their job at the end of the day. They are the experts if I'm asking them in their particular area. And I think, again, going back to some of these principles, I think it's good to say to people, I don't know the answer to this, and I've come to you because I think you're really good at your job, and I'd love some advice. I'd love to learn from you. And just by doing that, again, you're fostering some great relationships there. And also, if they do give you some valuable insight into that, then you can go back to them again, and then that helps with future problems as well, and maintaining good relationships. So yeah, it's just, I think the whole relationship side is just so key if you ever get stuck with something.
Yeah, that's really important, isn't it? Like, just working together. It's not just one person that has to deliver something. You're working as a team. 100%. And even if you are maybe the face of it potentially, then you can still say that so and so has helped you, or we've worked together to kind of deliver it. So no, totally agree. That's very useful stuff. Cool. I guess there's no other questions, so I think we'll move over on to Daniella next. But thank you, Holly.
Oh, thank you, Ilesh. I'm just going to go ahead and just share my screen. I've got my own presentation. It should load in a few seconds. Okay, yes. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you. All right then. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and be part of the I Am Tech Meetup. My name is Daniella Lawal, and I'm thrilled to be speaking to you today about my journey into tech. So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of the agenda items and just the key topics that I'll be discussing today. So I'll give you an introduction into myself. I'll be sharing you my personal journey and experiences, and also be sharing with you any key learnings, and again, like the rest of us, taking bit questions and Q&A at the end. So I'll just get into it. So just to make it a bit personable and just so you guys get to know me a bit more, here are a few facts about myself. So I'm a foodie. I love food. I love Thai food, especially if it's not Thai, count me out of it. Chinese, all those kind of Pan-Asian foods. I love it. I also play netball for fun. And also, I don't like chocolate. It gives me it gives me headache. I know people find it weird, but it does. Yes. So, so I'm a Scrum Master and an Agile coach with experience in successively driving and delivering high quality increments, as well as introducing Scrum principles and Agile delivery, and also driving best practices. And I would say my journey into this role wasn't a typical one, but I'll definitely get into that a bit shortly. And again, I'll be just walking you through my own personal journey today and learnings from, my career that I've built on, and also from this industry as well. So I really hope it helps you to consider your own strengths and how they can help you transition into tech, or just to share my journey for those who are already in that industry. Okay, so I'll just take you back a little bit. My journey into tech was quite an unconventional one, so I'll just walk you slightly through this. So I studied business and management at the University of Kent, and I always had a passion for business, especially as we're in an era where tech and technology is constantly evolving and e-commerce is becoming such a huge trend. I always knew that I wanted to be in that business space. So studying this course gave me an opportunity to explore a variety of options and also tailor some of the interests that I had as well. So whether that be management accounting, information technology, project management, and even running your own enterprise, it really gave me those fundamentals I needed to be around that business environment. So essentially, I didn't go through that traditional route, as some of you will know it, having a graduate scheme. However, I secured a project coordinator role within the public sector space as well, and also worked in different consulting areas. So I had the opportunity to really get a hands-on experience with just being involved in that project delivery environment. And at the time, and like I said, I always knew I wanted to be in the field of business, project management, etc. And at the time, the program team I was part of wanted to run their projects in a more agile manner. And we were very much Prince focused, waterfall led, and they were offering training. And I put myself forward for this. And I just took that opportunity. I didn't know what it was going to entail in huge detail. But again, I just put myself forward for that and just took that opportunity to learn and potentially build a career from that. So quickly, I noticed that this became a passion of mine, and I enjoyed working in that project agile delivery environment. And I was able to then get certified within these areas and was able to develop my skill set in, seeing projects through end to end. I then went on working on various different projects, including digital change and transformation, product delivery, whilst also coming across a role of a Scrum Master. So project managing different projects. So with that, I came across the role as a Scrum Master. I heard of it when I carried out my Agile certification training, but I just wanted to understand further. Like I mentioned before, I stumbled across it, but wasn't sure what being a Scrum Master was. So when I got Agile certified, I had done further research and really just took a liking into the role. And it was quite similar in terms of, what project coordination and project management entails, and just really took a liking to it and just know that I'll be good at it and would enjoy it at the same time. So again, just, running with that, I undertook training and then got certified. So I then, since then, worked across various industries. I also work with Ilesh as well, including working on different projects, including software development, website development, cloud computing, data analytics, and engineering. So I've worked across those different projects in your consulting space, in global marketing, IT, also healthcare, and also within the public sector and finance as well. So essentially, the last 2 to 3 years have been spent as a Scrum Master and Agile coach. And with this experience, I've learned some valuable lessons. And not only has this helped me become a better Scrum Master or become good at my role, but it's also kept me grounded and interested in this industry. And like being mentioned before, just really enjoying the process as well. And I'll get into that more deeply as I go along, but I just kept myself interested within the industry, and it put me on a career path that I never expected. You know, I always knew again that I wanted to be in that business environment working. You know, I saw myself working for top firms and things like that. But if you told me a couple of years ago you'll be a Scrum Master, I'll probably ask you what that is. So yeah, it's just a career path I've never expected, and I'm definitely enjoying it. But I don't want this to just be me talking about my journey, but also sharing the power of networking, having mentorship, being a young women in this space. It's really hard to really find your feet sometimes, and just really want to hone in the fact that just having that mentorship and also being resilient to get to where I wanted to be was very crucial to my success, and also my personal journey as a woman in tech as well. So this leads me on to some of the things I've learned and key learnings I've learned within my career and even to date now. So one of the first things that really stuck out to me was your journey is your journey, and there's no linear path. You know, everyone's journey is different. You know, I was fortunate enough to get training and really just take it by the stride and just get certified and run with it and do that then. But people can, you know, join different programs like we've just discussed, or really trying to do your research and find out what you're like. You're going to go through the technical route, or you're just going to do different things. So just understanding that my journey was different and everyone's journey is different. And this path really enabled me to become a Scrum Master, and it showed me that success didn't have to be achieved in one way. So just really understanding the journey aspects of it as well is one of the key learnings that really stuck out to me. The second one I would say as well here, as you can see, is the power of network. I know some of the talkers and speakers today have really, really honed in on that. And then again, I would like to do the same thing, you know, just staying curious, networking, asking questions. We heard previously from Holly and the rest of the speakers that no question is dumb or stupid. You know, we're all here to learn and grow, even if we're long industry professionals in this space. So just staying curious, and there's no amount of experience that can really negate the need to network and collaborate and ask questions. In fact, for me personally, asking questions was often the best channel for communication and learning. And even as a Scrum Master and Agile coach, I'm often curious about how others solve problems, how they implement best practices, increase business agility, because there's always something new to learn, or better approaches than I would say than my own. So just using that power of networking as a significant resource is for those to learn, for those around you. So your network essentially is your net worth, yes, as well. So in terms of the other parts of the key learning as well, I would say really enjoying the process. So again, we get bogged down on going through our journey, really accelerating our careers, progressing into the next step, and we actually forget to enjoy the process as well. I think it's really important to like what you're doing at the same time. As you know, especially for those that are in this industry, we know tech can be very demanding, working long hours. Even now that I'm sitting here with you, I'm trying not to answer to calls and respond to emails and look at other team messages. So you have to really enjoy the process as well, and just making sure that it's a process that you enjoy as you progress in your career as well. And one of the things that I did that helped me enjoy the process, and I'll link it back to the power of networking and collaborating with others, is really being up to date with and curious, inquisitive about, you know, the upcoming trends in tech, understanding, for example, enterprise technology solutions and how to inspire others to work in agile and improve ways of working as well. I would call myself an agile enthusiast. I'm really passionate about, you know, agile ways of working with development teams as well. And so it's just making sure that I'm staying up to date, you know, reading blogs. For example, TechCrunch is a really good one, and just always taking that further step to take that initiative to expand my resources, having conversations with my peers, building that mentorship, especially as a woman and a young person in tech as well. So attending live events like this today, I've learned so much from the speakers, and also joining in seminars, different lean coffee sessions as well has really helped me. So just making sure that I'm, again, tying all these three learnings together and really trying to progress in my career, especially as a young woman navigating this space. So to conclude with that, I've seen that the field has become more diverse with women, especially, you know, this is the main topic today, and also with people from non-traditional backgrounds, so who are changing the tech space. So yeah, it's become very insightful to really understand and learn and grow within this industry, and just keep pushing and just getting the best use of my career and in this space as well. So it's been really amazing to experience that and also learn that to date and keep pushing and striving for that. Yes, so thank you so much. That brings me to the end. And thank you again, Ilesh, and everyone in this space. It's been really great speaking to you all. Any questions?
Hi,
Yeah, are there any questions? Yeah, go for it, sorry.
Hi, thank you very much, Daniela, for your talk. It really was inspiring, and it gave me a bit of confidence knowing what I want to do for the future as well. So I just wanted to ask, what is like the difference between a project manager and a scrum master?
Oh, good question. Good question. So a project manager really sees the end-to-end delivery, rather than a scrum master. You are tied to one team. So I'll kind of use us as a scenario, Ilesh, if you would permit me to. So a scrum master, you are leading a group of software engineers or developers, so no more than probably 7 to 8 developers at a go, and then you're with product owner. So you're in small teams as part of a wider delivery program, and you're coaching the teams on how to deliver increments. So for example, in the project that we are on, we are delivering websites for animal pet health. So you're working in a small team whereby you're meeting on a daily basis, having your daily stand-ups. I always use Scrum teams as a kind of football team. So I'm like football manager. I've got my footballers, and which are the developers, and we're trying to deliver increments. We're trying to deliver a website. We're trying to reach our target and reach a goal. So you're more in close knit teams rather than project managing a whole delivery of whatever the project is. So it's more personable, I would say, and you get to interact on a more deeper level with your colleagues, rather than managing 2-3 projects at a go. You've got your one dedicated team. There has been times whereby I have managed 2 to 3 teams as a Scrum Master, but it's very more personable. It's very tight, very close knit, and you can continue to inspect and adapt and deliver. Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, you answered perfectly. Thank you. I have one more question, if that's all right.
Yes, go for it.
Do you have any advice for someone who's going to be a project manager intern in the summer?
Oh, yes, I do. I would say definitely when you're working in a project, whether you're a Scrum Master, or you're working as a project manager, a developer, solutions architect, whatever it is, but especially for a project manager, you are working with a team of people. There's no I in team. So always make sure that you're collaborating with people. You're constantly just making sure that the team and everything within that entails that project is running smoothly. You know, it's not just all about yourself and what your needs and wants are. You're working in a team with people, so you have to constantly, you know, collaborate, network, and ask questions, and make sure that not just you as a project manager understand the brief, but you're making sure that your other team members understand what needs to be done to deliver the project on time and just make sure things run smoothly. And I would say projects, contrary to that, I would say not all projects run smoothly as well. So always be open and always be honest, and really just understand that people have different mindsets when you're working with them as well. So again, it ties into just making sure that you're collaborating, you're respecting your colleagues, and yeah, and you'll get there and deliver. So yeah, and enjoy the process as well. Again, enjoy it as well as delivering.
Thank you so much.
You'll be fine.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Hi, thank you, Daniela, for giving us a lovely presentation on your experience. I just wanted to ask, what are these specific training that helped you develop from, you know, a project manager to a scrum master, or from the project coordinator role to being an actual project manager?
Absolutely.
Or like the qualifications, yeah.
Yeah, so the qualifications I did, so I had my prints, but like I mentioned before, the program that I was in at the time wanted to run their projects in an agile manner. So I did my agile project management certification. So you have your foundation and you have your practitioner. So I've got the practitioner level, but if you just want to get the fundamentals and the foundation, you have your foundation and practitioner as well. It's a 5-day course, and it's a closed book exam, multiple questions, and it just tests your knowledge on what you've learnt with your trainer for then. And for the Scrum certifications, you have your professional Scrum Master course as well, PSM1, there's PSM2, or there's also certified Scrum Master as well. So I can send you a few links as well. There's different courses that you can do, and also LinkedIn offers free courses as well, which helped me as well when I was doing my research and really trying to understand the role of a project manager or a Scrum Master.
Great, thank you so much for that. That was really helpful.
Great, thank you.
Any more questions for Daniela?
Yes, hi Daniela. I just got a question. You mentioned about having a mentor. How did that play a crucial part on your journey? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Mentorship is very, very, very important. Me personally, if I didn't get mentorship, I'm sure that I wouldn't have got some little key nuggets that I just wouldn't have found to do my research. You know, we can do as much research on the internet, not saying the internet is not useful, but just having people, industry-led professionals that are in the field was really, really important to me, and it really contributed to my success. So having that mentorship is very important, and I'm always, even now, out to get more mentorship and just build a community. And not only just mentorship, I've put myself forward in just being in that community of practice, and just joining in different people, like-minded people like myself that are in the same space as me as well. So I found that useful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's one question in the chat, which is what's a piece of advice you'd give to your younger version of yourself?
Oh, good question. Really good question. I actually thought about this the other day when I was putting this presentation together. Your journey is your journey. I really like that, and that's why I added that in the presentation. And don't keep going. You're going to get there. It might take longer than others. So for example, I didn't go through the traditional route of getting a placement year or graduate scheme, and you know, I felt defeated at one point. Some of my peers were, you know, heading off to work in all these top 4 big places, or just companies, and getting their roles right off the back. So just keep going. You will get there. It might take longer than others, and your journey is your journey, essentially. So yeah, I'll definitely tell my younger self that.
Nice. I think somebody's typing, but I don't know if their question's coming through. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know if there's any more questions. So thank you, Danielle, for presenting. Great presentation. And next up is Jeevantika. Let me know when you're ready.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, yeah.
Wow, I'm already up. I didn't realize that. Let me just try to bring my... Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can, yeah.
And is it good to go?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So, hi everybody, my name is Jeevantika, and I must say, wow, that was a really amazing boost session, empowerment session by you all. So thank you so much, everybody, for sharing your insight. So today I just wanted to talk about something that is very close to my heart, something that I believe is super essential for our society as an individual, to progress and growth. And that is why the topic unleashing her potential and how women are claiming their power and changing the game. But before that, let me give you a brief introduction of who I am. So, as I said, the name is Jeevantika Lingalwar, and I am a cloud solution architect in Microsoft. Also, the founder of a group called International Women in Tech, which I founded couple of years back, maybe 3 or 4 years back. And that is a group on LinkedIn. You can easily find it if you type International Women in Tech. That's the name of the group. I am basically from India, and I came in Ireland to do my master's in 2018. So I completed my bachelor's in 2016. I did not had too much of gap. I worked in India for 1.5 years and immediately came to Ireland to explore the career paths and something that I always wanted to do. And I ended up studying here, doing my master's in cloud computing. Soon after my graduation, I got a job in one of the logistics in here. And I have seen huge progress in the very early stage of my career. So when I was 25, I got the amazing opportunity. By the way, I'm still young, but just not to forget that I worked before working in Microsoft. I was working in logistics 2 years back, and I got a C-level position that was a chief technology officer role when I was 25. Being a woman comes with lots of challenges. I heard Anubha's stories, I heard everybody, and I know Anubha's concept is very different on connecting mothers in tech. So I know being a mother again comes with, I cannot experience that personally, but then I know a lot of people. I've seen my mom, who's a mother, and have struggled a lot, done so much for me, and to be very honest, she's the backbone for me. And whatever I am today, it's all because of her. So I think God made us that way that a woman can handle 10 things at one time. And again, it comes with so many challenges professionally, on personal life, family, health wise, and everything. So I think for me as well, being a student coming to Ireland, doing my master's, and like many other students who came from a different country, international country, taking huge loans from India, doing their education, it was quite hard to manage my personal life and also my, education at the same time. I was working as event stewardess in security, doing part-time jobs to cover up, and most of you can relate through this, right? So I found it like a little bit difficult to seek mentors or career advice in my life, because wherever I went, there were a lot of good people out there, good organization who were offering mentorship and advice, but at the same time it was not affordable for me, because anywhere I went, they were like, you know what, we will be able to help you, we can guide you in your career, but would you be like, we would need $250 for half an hour, and that's the fee for the career advice. We'll assess and then again go for the next session. But that was very hard for me. As I said, being a student, I was not earning enough. I was working as a part-time to fulfill the loans that I have back in India. And that's when I decided to start my own group called International Women in Tech. Slowly well, initially I named it Women in Tech Ireland, and then I realized that there are so many people who wanted to join, but because it was named as Ireland, people were hesitant, saying that, I am international student, I am not Irish. Do you think I should join this group and all? So then I used the power of naming something, and that's when I changed it to International Women in Tech. And soon, like from 10 people, we are now nearly or more than 4,800 members. So I am so proud to say that now I'm having such a big community, which is growing every day, every single day, every single second, every single minute. And this is something that is very close to my heart. Diversity, inclusion, women in tech. I started this group without any expectation, because I have personally seen myself how women struggle. We are still in the male dominant industry, that is the tech industry, and there we are still talking about women in tech, equality, diversity, inclusion, because it's still not resolved yet. So I think this has boosted a lot of energy in me, given me a lot of enthusiasm to help more and more women. And that's the reason the platform exists and it's running. I also started my own mentorship platform called as Coffee Chat with Jeevantika, which is a 30-minute free session where people can book a 30 minutes call. And by the way, this group is global, so anybody can join from anywhere in the world. And like when I started Coffee Chat with Jeevantika, within 3 months, I took over 200 calls from people from all around the world. So that was quite overwhelming for me, because that's when I saw that there is so much of need for people to get some mentors, good mentors, career advice in their life, so that they can grow and achieve their dream goal. And International Women in Tech acts everything. So it's not just a mentorship platform, but also for women to connect from all over the world, because I've seen people achieving a lot of stuffs when they are in this group. They are posting a lot of stuff. I've helped a lot of organization host recruitment events for international women in tech, and various life coaches event, podcast, and everything. So this has been a lot helpful for a lot of women out there, and this is again without any financial burden, because it's, as I said, this is a huge passion of mine, a love of mine that I always wanted to pursue, and this is what I'm doing just in the sake of helping others. But just coming back, by the way, you can just check this group on LinkedIn. That's the name, International Women in Tech. And you can join it on LinkedIn as well. So you don't have to, the good thing is you don't have to fill any form or register or sign up or nothing. It's just a click away. Also, you don't have to subscribe for any of the events that I host. So I've hosted a lot of events, and they are for free for everybody. But yeah, again, coming back to the main topic, unleashing unleashing her potential. So when I say unleashing her potential, that means we as a women, we sometimes a lot of undermine ourselves, that we are not capable to do anything or something that we desire. But at the same time, we forget that we are as equal as our male counterparts, or our colleagues who are in the same industry. But why don't we go in front and apply for the role that we desire, and that at the same time our male colleagues are doing that? So I think, again, the imposter syndrome, that this is something that we all talk about. And people, when I take these calls on Coffee Chat with Jeevantika, I've seen a lot of women reaching out saying, you know what, I have imposter syndrome, and that is the reason I'm not able to do it. But to be very honest, when you say that you have an imposter syndrome, it feels like it's a disease. But imposter syndrome is not a disease. It's just a psychological term that people have in their head, that they have imposter syndrome. There's nothing called as imposter syndrome, believe me. It's all about confidence. It's all about how you pursue things. And this is what women are changing these days. This is what we are working towards achieving the goals. And for centuries, women have been underestimated, underrepresented, and undervalued in almost every aspect of life. So from workforce to politics, from education to sports, women recognition is not the topmost thing that people might carry or people might take as the foremost, because we are still fighting for it. recognizing a woman, being recognized as a, especially as what a woman does, and what multiple jobs or what multiple role a woman carries out. But fortunately, we are living in a time when women are no longer satisfied with just sitting on the sidelines. We need more, right? We need to achieve our goals. We need to satisfy the needs, the desires that we actually want to achieve in the life. But today, they are claiming their power and changing the game in every field. Women are not just breaking the glass ceiling, they are shattering it into a million pieces. This is what actually I see. And this is changing very rapidly. Before, like 3-4 years back, we used to talk that, we are not getting an opportunity, but now it's changing. Women are fighting for the opportunity, and they have become more confident. Like, we as a women, we have become more confident to work towards our goal. And we are pioneering new fields and industry, creating innovations that are changing in the world. We as a women are no longer satisfied with playing second fiddle to men. I know this is a little bit biased to say, but I'm not being feminist in here. But at the same point, I think we are surrounded with such good male allies with whom we can learn from. I am so proud to say that most of my mentors, I don't have one mentor in life, and I believe everybody shouldn't just have one mentor. But many of my mentors are male, and I have learned so much from them. I have gained so much experience from them. I've gained so much of confidence from them, and we need more male allies. And thank you, Ilesh, for doing this. This is really incredible that you are doing for women in tech, and I really, really appreciate male like you who are supporting us in every way. So but again, as I said, we are no longer satisfied with playing the second fiddle to men. We are creating our own symphonies. So one of the most significant changes that we are seeing is the growing number of women in leadership roles. Women are now CEOs, board members, and executives. And also, like, as I said, at a very, very early age, I have seen that leadership role in my career, which has given me a lot of confidence in life. And at the same time, it comes with challenge as well, because I was working in a logistics, and the logistics is again a very, very much male dominated workspace, where you would find so many like male who are like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years of experience. And I was holding a team of those men. So it was quite difficult for me to manage, first to understand what I'm supposed to do, but at the same time to manage a group of team where people are more experienced than what degree you hold, because I am just 3 years or 4 years experienced in this industry now in the tech world. And as I said, it has given me so much of confidence, because when I said before that the power of naming is so important, the moment you get that title, automatically there will be an enthusiasm, there will be a confidence that has boosted within you. So that is what happened with me. Then again, we have like leading nations running for public office, the women fighting for justice, social justice, women in politics. And this is all is proving that we are just capable, if not more so than our male counterparts. But then the benefits of being a woman, the benefits of having a women leadership role is numerous, and it's so efficient outside. Like now, if you see, I am working in Microsoft, and I have seen maximum number of leadership roles being occupied by women. So that is the new norm. Like, it's not just in Microsoft. I've seen like a lot of organization are fostering this behavior. They are educating more women to become leaders. They are educating more women to stand for the role that they want, or to work in an organization or in a role that makes them happy. So this is what I mean, that when the universe is changing, when the organizations are changing, and when as an individual you are changing. And this has shown like many companies. I do a couple of research and studies, and a lot of these things when it comes to women in tech and where we are in terms of equality again. But many of these studies have shown that companies with women in leadership role or in leadership positions have better financial performance, more diverse perspectives, and more inclusive cultures. And this is the truth, because I have seen myself. Everything that I'm saying is all on personal experiences. There's nothing I've taken out from some theory or books, but at the same time, when the statistics says it, it says it all, So I think I could relate everything to when it comes to women leadership, when it comes to perspective, diversity, and inclusion. And this is not just in the corporate world where women are making strides. In sports, we are seeing women athletes break records and shatter stereotypes. Women are competing at the highest level of every sport, showing that they are just as capable, if not more than men. In arts as well, I love singing. I cannot say I am the best singer in here, but I could say that I'm a bathroom singer, or I sing a lot when I'm in my car. So I love singing, and I literally follow all the women singers I love. Like, Adele is my favorite because she has such a powerful voice. So I think in every single field, women are accelerating. It's not just tech world, it's not just personal life, it's not just family, it's not just work, but women are leaving their marks everywhere these days. So um nowadays they are all telling stories that we have been neglected for too long, bringing new perspective to the screen. And I said, this is how we will continue to grow. This is how we will make change in the sustainable environment, that what they say. And this is how we will unleash the potential that we have. So first and foremost, all what we need to do is support and empower women. If you might have heard about the term women empowering women, that is the most powerful word I've ever seen. And I have seen a lot of women empowering me in my life. So I think first it starts within you. I've always been saying this, that diversity and inclusion, it's not about public, it's about you. It's about what you believe, it's about how you start, it's about how you treat your mother, it's about how you treat your sister or your daughter or your brother or your, anybody. It's not just gender bias, but anybody that you treat within your household first, and then your colleagues and everywhere. So that's how it starts. And then this means that we are creating more opportunities for women, whether it's through scholarship, mentorship programs, leadership development initiatives, etc. And it also means that we are addressing a lot of systematic barriers that prevent women from reaching their full potential, such as gender pay gap, which you might have seen a lot these days. Because me and my colleague, we do talk sometimes that, are we getting less paid than our male colleague who is having the same skills, who is having the same knowledge in the field, but are we getting less? So these kind of stereotypes need to be broken at the moment. Secondly, we need to celebrate the achievements of women. As I said in the beginning, that a lot of time we do undermine ourselves, that we are not enough. But that's not the truth. We are more than enough, and we are more than enough, more capable enough to do things that we want in life, and more capable enough to do things that others can do. It's just the term imposter syndrome that we have in our head for so long needs to be broken out, needs to be taken care of first. Once you remove that, I think a lot of things would be easily achievable. Because one thing I've learned from my male mentors is how easy their approach is towards achieving something. And at the same time, I was able to find myself at a point where I had everything in me, I had all the skills in me, and I was capable enough to achieve that thing. But I think I was not confident enough. So because I was not confident enough, I missed a huge opportunity. And now at this point, I am in a position where I am not scared of losing anything. I am more scared of not trying about anything. So I think this makes a lot of different. This made a lot of difference in my life, and huge change, boosted more confidence, boosted more fearlessness in me, that now I am not scared to go towards anything. The worst thing that could happen is that I might fail in that. But the best thing that could happen is I might get a lot of lessons from it. So I take all these challenges super positively. And if I, like, my dream where do you see yourself in the next 5 years is a leadership goal? Well, I do avoid answering this question many times because I live in present and not a lot in the future or the past. But at the same time, this is what and why we are all working, right, to achieve our goals. And in conclusion, the unleashing of women's potential is not just a women's issue, it's a human being issue. So when we support and empower women, we create a more inclusive and equitable society for all. And when women are able to claim their power and change the game, it's not just one person is benefited out of it, but we all are benefited out of it. So let us continue to work towards this journey, a world where every woman can reach her full potential. And this is where, all the meetups, all the mentorship, all the organization efforts come in. And again, I might repeat myself, but as an individual, there's a lot of thing that you can change as an individual. You don't have to wait for somebody else to talk to you about diversity and inclusion. As I said, you can start it within you, and being an individual, you can do many wonders. I am not posting in here, but I started this group on my own, and I am still running a lot of events on my own. And recently I have had amazing people joining me as mentors and ambassadors in the group. So thank you everybody for for your support. I know some of them are here on this group, and it really means a lot when women are supporting each other, when women are helping each other to grow in their career. So I'm not gonna talk a lot about this, but I would love to end this discussion with one of my favorite quote that I usually hang around my neck and dance. To be very honest, that I do not fear losing, I fear not trying. And this is something that has worked for me. And I have been saying this to everybody I meet. I've been saying this to everybody I've mentored in life, that you should never ever fear losing, because this is honestly just a part of your life. Losing is just part of your life. You might miss a huge opportunity if you close the door of trying, right? So I think everybody, whatever you want to do, the only thing I would say is just keep trying and not stop until and unless you get to your goal, because life is very short. No philosophy in here, but honestly, life is very short, and I don't think there is any time to regret that whatever you have done in your past and you're regretting now, wasting a lot of time. So if you want to waste your time, just waste it while trying rather than regretting that you have failed in your life. And I think I do celebrate my failures a lot. It's not that I love failing, honestly. That's not what I mean. But whenever I fail, I do celebrate it. I do celebrate my achievements and success, but I also celebrate my failures because they have taught a lot of lessons to me. And this is what I will end with, saying that please take every challenge in a positive way, because whatever is coming to your way, it's for good. Believe me or not, but that's the true reality. So thank you so much. I really enjoyed this, listening to all of you amazing speakers on the board. And thank you, Ilesh, again for inviting me and having such an amazing speakers on the call. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, thank you for a great presentation. Are there any questions? No? No, that's brilliant. No, thank you so much. So I just want to conclude the meetup to say thank you to all the presenters that are speaking today. Very good topics, very useful and really useful things to hear. And also, I'd probably recommend to connect with them quite if you haven't already, because it's they're pushing the boundaries of lots of avenues here, and which is so credible, really. So really thank you to the presenters. Thank you for the people that attended, and we'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you. Cheers.
Bye.